What? A Democrat admits one of the biggest mistakes that they've ever made? Now, I must be dreaming, but hey, it actually happened. But what's it about? It's all about backing policies that protect criminals more than the law-abiding citizens. Does that ring a bell?
You've seen the videos of brazen smash and grabs like these. Companies' losses from theft are at historical highs. Retailers like Macy's and Dick's Sporting Goods join Nordstrom in blaming theft and inventory loss for falling short of their projected sales figures. Federal authorities and retailers are now sounding the alarm about the growing danger of organized retail crime that authorities say is sweeping the country.
They know exactly what stores to hit, what businesses and residents to hit, when and where.
So, San Mateo County Supervisor David Campa, he just went and said that whatever plan that they have to combat all of this theft, it's not working. So Campa was a backer of Proposition 47. Are you guys familiar with that one? We talked about it a little bit here on our channel, but for anybody that's new, it's basically a law that allows criminals to steal pretty much whatever they want, so long as they don't exceed $950. If it's within that range, then congratulations, it's all good. Just take it. Now, there's a little bit of sarcasm in that statement, but you get what I'm saying. So if you were charged with a felony before, you may be able to lower that to a misdemeanor. Stuff like commercial burglary, petty theft, grand theft crimes, and even possession of a controlled substance are now all being considered a misdemeanor. Pretty crazy, huh? Now, what's even crazier about this is that Canada now wants to introduce legislation to fight organized theft. Like, seriously? I mean, if only there were rules to discourage thieves and criminals from doing this in the first place, right? But no, now they want them to admit wrong after years of people leaving California and businesses moving their branches elsewhere. Now they want to say that this was all just a big, huge mistake.
Who thought this was going to be a good idea to begin with? Like, how could this been good? Explain.
Lawrence, I thought it was a great idea. I supported it in 2014. And the reason I supported it was because I thought it was a compassionate approach, giving people a second chance, third chance, whatever it is. In retrospect, what people did was they've really taken advantage of this law. And that's why what we need to do on Prop 47 is to rescind that law. So I made a mistake. I think others made a mistake. Now it's time for us to move forward and move forward in a way where we value public safety. Public safety isn't a Democratic issue. It's not a Republican issue. It's a people issue.
Someone in office admits that they made a big mistake. Kind of rare, but I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. What do you guys think? Especially for people in California. Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this one. And for everybody who's watching today, make sure you subscribe to the channel and show your support by smashing the like button for the video. Totally appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, moving on to yet another topic, but still within California. Y'all are aware that their governor, Gavin Newsom, is a firm supporter of President Biden, which includes his push to have us basically transition to a world without fossil fuels, right? So basically, no gas generators, no gas running cars, no cars that run on gas or diesel, no gas stoves, no gas water heaters. Basically, y'all get the point, right?
To accelerate our transition. But the question is, what?
Governor Gavin Newsom providing a progress report on the ambitious plan to transition California to 100% clean energy. He did so in front of Moxion, a Richmond-based clean energy company that he toured this morning. And while the finish line is 2045, the governor says the state is already making big strides. 1.5 million zero-emission cars have been sold in California. Greenhouse gas emissions are at 1990 levels, and the state is 59% on its way to 100% clean energy.
When we lay out markers, we achieve them. And so we have laid out ambitious markers.
Now, the governor recently announced an executive order to fast-track construction of clean energy projects across the state. He also says hundreds of millions of dollars will be used to help communities transition to cleaner energy. In 2020, we saw some of the impacts of this transition when Marathon Petroleum in Martinez closed its plant due to low demand for gasoline.
We want to get people to work. We want to get those folks at Marathon that feel like they have been a raw deal, get them back to work. We've got to build, we've got to create projects.
Virginia Parks is a professor at UC Irvine who completed a study on 345 workers who were laid off at the refinery. She says about a quarter of them couldn't find work, and those that did were paid significantly less. She hopes the transition towards 100% clean energy takes these workers into account.
So one of the biggest winners so far of this movement is none other than Tesla. Although this is something that I've been seeing more and more often whenever I go online. More of these cars are seeing problems that would never happen with a normal car. Now this happened in England where a Model 3 just literally stopped on the track. It just stopped with no apparent warning whatsoever. Now this probably wouldn't be as big of an issue if the owner was at home or something like that, but it just so happened that it stopped on a busy road near Salisbury in England. Now you might think, well, just push the darn thing and wait for assistance to come, right? And if you're driving a gas car, maybe a diesel car, that might actually be possible, you know? Put that thing in neutral or something like that. But this was like, you know, you'd have to be the Hulk in order to move it. They just couldn't move the car. And as you can pretty much guess, it obstructed traffic for 9 whole hours. Now, let me repeat that emphasis. 9 hours. Can you imagine being stuck on the interstate and your car just stops? Picture this. You're doing like 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, and then your car just stops and you're in like the left lane, maybe even the middle lane. Meanwhile, traffic all around you is trying to pass, and hopefully you don't get hit by another vehicle doing like 70 miles an hour. Not cool. And so the funny thing, if you can think of a funny thing happening here, the car actually showed that it still had some charge left. It just didn't want to go. So imagine this thing happening on our highways, just backing up traffic for hours on end. It's not a sight that I think a lot of us want to see. So yeah, I'm really interested as to how they're going to continue to try to convince us to get one of these things. And I also like to know exactly what happened, like from a technical perspective, because if I wanted something like this, I would much rather just kind of buy a wall, you know? It's just kind of the same idea because you can't necessarily put a wall in gear, right? Anyway, it's a corny joke, but you get my point. So anyway, moving on from that corniness, like the White House has now been notified. Not of our bills, not of our problems, not about our personal expenses and inflation. Oh, no. But they have been told of the mess that's happening with Burning Man. Did any of you guys hear about this?
The entire place is absolutely just soaked.
After 2 days of heavy rainfall left more than 70,000 trapped in thick mud in the middle of the remote Nevada desert.
Driving a vehicle right now is impossible. There is absolutely no way you can move a vehicle through this right now.
The local sheriff's office now probing the death of one person during the rain event. The cause still under investigation. But the festival says the death was not storm related.
Talk about a bad situation, huh? But yeah, it's a really serious matter, but it just blows my mind how stuff like this happens out of the blue. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that there was a video where Chris Rock, he had to hitch a ride at the back of a pickup truck just to kind of get out of the Burning Man. Now, related to Rock, and no, we're not talking about any kind of slapping here. Although this could be a slap in the face of the current administration that we have in the White House. You know, the same one that continues to say that the labor market is doing so well. Oh yeah, that one. Well, Hollywood just cut jobs by more than 17,000 as strikes by writers and actors continue to go on. Now I'm hoping that this gets resolved soon, but there doesn't seem to be much hope and talks going on in that direction. But what do you guys think? And what are your thoughts on everything that we talked about today? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for the likes. Thank you for subscribing. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.